I'm Jon Griffith. I'm here with Michael Marino. I blanked out. I've known you for years, and I blanked out on your name.
It's okay.
And we're talking about the Point Foundation, and we are live. And we do want your questions and comments, and our phone number is on the screen, I hope, 718-460-9802. We were talking a little bit about mentoring, but the video mentioned a little bit about fundraising,
Yes.
which I didn't have in my notes, so I think we should take a little detour on fundraising. How it's a not-for-profit organization,
Yes.
so you're not actually going out selling anything.
No, no. We accept donations just like any other nonprofit organization, and people can go on our website at pointfoundation.org and find out more about different ways that they can contribute to the Point Foundation or donate directly right online.
Okay.
My contact information is on there as well. They can email me or call the office and speak to somebody about more information as well. And really, you know, like Julie said in that piece that we just watched, in this day and age, it really is a matter of the change in people's pockets can really change somebody's life. I mean, one of the statistics that I often use when I talk to some of our donors at events is that a $500 donation, if they pay it over, you know, every month, is $42 a month, which is, you know, some people spend that on Starbucks alone.
Exactly.
And really, a $500 donation for a student pays for their books for one semester.
Just think
one
of
semester.
All the folks out there, all the reformed ex-smokers like myself. Yeah, if you give your cigarette money to a nonprofit such as the Point Foundation, you're changing somebody's life, and probably more than just one somebody.
Yeah.
And that's just such a great thing to do.
Yeah. And we also have, here in New York, we do, last year was the first year that we did a major benefit here in New York, and we'll be doing it again. It's the last Monday in April, which I believe is April 27th.
That's called 2009.
2009, yeah, 2009. It's called Point Honors. Last year we honored Cynthia Nixon with an individual award and Time Warner with a corporate award, and it was a really spectacular event. We set the bar really high last year, having Cynthia Nixon a month before the Sex and the City movie came out, and all of the girls from the movie were there.
That's great.
We really got great press for the organization because of that event. So we'll be back doing it again in April.
So again, the change in your pocket, you know, from just a few dollars a month to, you know, if you have it, give it.
Yeah.
Because
exactly.
you know
everything helps.
Yeah.
Everything helps.
What about volunteering opportunities? I mean, we were talking about mentoring. So I guess that would fall under volunteering.
Yeah, really, that's really our main area of how somebody can get involved with Point as a volunteer, because we don't necessarily have an office structure or services that somebody, like a food kitchen or anything, where somebody can come and prepare meals or something. So our mentoring program is one of the main ways that people can get involved with us by volunteering. And to apply to be a mentor, again, it's all done online. It's a simple application that you can fill out. Most people choose
Pointfoundation.org.
Pointfoundation.org. Most people just choose to easily copy and paste their resume into the application because it's pretty much the same information that we ask for. And then what happens is our program director for the mentoring and leadership programs will go over the application and contact any mentors that, you know, are eligible, you know, qualified to be a mentor, and do a phone interview with them. The one caveat with our mentoring program is that we often have more mentors than we do students. So though we're always looking for new qualified individuals to want to mentor a student, we can't necessarily guarantee that you're going to be matched right away with a student. Because one of the things that we strive to do when we do our mentoring matches is to not only match the student with an individual that is working in the field that the student is currently pursuing or hopes to pursue post-graduation, but also somebody who's geographically accessible to the student. So that mentoring can happen, mentoring can happen not only by email and phone calls, but also there's the potential there for in-person meetings.
So and at such a vulnerable age, in most cases, that guidance is of great value.
Yeah, and the mentors really work with the students not only on their academic and their career goals, but a lot of the mentors get really involved with the students around their community service projects and work really closely with the students, and in some cases really help the student form what their community service project is for that year.
Right. Well, I mean, I can imagine that it can also provide a sort of parental support that you don't get from typical biological or adoptive parents.
Yeah.
Because your mom and your dad generally didn't know what it was like to grow up gay.
Yeah. There's a lot of great stories from all of our scholars of, and one of my favorites is Julie, who is in the video piece that we showed. The first year she became a Point Scholar, she called our founders, and the time difference, because she's studying here in New York and our founders live on the West Coast, I think it was 2 o'clock in the morning or something when she called them. And she woke them up, and she was like, I'm really sorry, but I'm just so happy, and I needed to call and tell somebody that I got straight A's. Because she couldn't call her family and tell them that. So that's really, again, where, not only the staff gets those types of calls, our founders, our board members get those types of calls, but also the mentors get those types of calls and emails and celebrations with the students when they succeed.
Yes.
Because they're just so happy about it and they want to tell somebody.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's wonderful, and it's really so inspiring. Just with the mentor program, in addition to geographics and area of study, is it usually same gender, or is it?
It really depends. Darren, who's our program director that deals with the mentoring program, he interviews both the mentors as well as all of the students and asks them what they prefer in not only their mentee but their mentor, whether they prefer to be somebody of the same sex, same sexual orientation, same field, things like that, and he tries to pair them up as closely as possible. So typically he takes into consideration what the student's request is and also what the mentor's request is of the type of student that they want to be paired with. Okay,
if somebody is approved into the mentoring program, what type of commitment are they making?
They're really making a commitment to, and I believe that there is another sort of contract of sorts that Darren asked the mentors to sign as far as the level of involvement that they have with their mentee. And it varies. I mean, again, some mentees and mentor relationships are a lot closer than others, as far as relationship-wise, where they do sort of form a bond that's kind of like a parent-child bond, and others are strictly more professional, and that's really based off of what the student wants as well as what the mentor wants. And in all the years that we've been doing this, which again, we were founded in 2001, so we're still relatively a young organization, we've only had, I think, 4 or 5 instances where we've had either a mentor or a scholar asked to be paired with somebody else. And sometimes it was because one of them moved out of the location. Either the scholar transferred schools and was in a completely different state and wanted a mentor that was closer, or the mentor, we've had instances where mentors have had to go away for work and traveled overseas or abroad. So
yeah, well, life does get in the way sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, how did you decide to become involved? And did it start out as just a job? Did you start out as a mentor? Did you?
No, I've always known about the Point Foundation. I've always, professionally, I've typically always worked in the nonprofit world, doing development work and fundraising work. I started out working at Gay Men's Health Crisis, and then went to Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS. Spent a number of years at an HIV research center affiliated with NYU. Left NYU and worked at the Empire State Pride Agenda for a while, which was the first time I worked in a nonprofit that wasn't related to HIV and AIDS. So that was an interesting experience for me. Education has always been something that personally has been very important to me. My parents, I'm the youngest of 7 kids. And when it came time for us, getting ready to graduate high school and go on to college, our parents gave us a simple option. It was go to school and we'll help support you, or don't go to school but go to work. You couldn't not go to school and just live under their house and not be working. And And those of us who chose to go to school, they were there behind us in every way, shape, or form that they could be. And growing up as a gay man, I have to say that I felt a little bit probably what some of our students feel as well, in that I didn't tell my parents I was gay, even though I knew, until after I graduated college, because I was certain that they were going to disown me, not provide financial support I needed to complete the college anymore. Luckily, when I did finally come out to them, that wasn't the case. They didn't disown me, but I was accused, not by my parents, but by a sibling, of waiting to come out until I graduated college because I wanted them to pay for it. So I do understand sort of the fear that young LGBT individuals have in coming out to their families of, you know, what does that potentially mean for their future? You know, if their family does disown them or withhold emotional and financial support, how are they going to survive? How are they going to succeed and go to college if that's something that they want to accomplish? So it's really always been something that's been interesting to me, and I came across the position, the opening, mainly my position at Point when I came on was a relatively new position. The organization has always been based on the West Coast, and they found it increasingly harder and harder to grow successfully as an organization, trying to have a presence on the East Coast, but doing it all from the West Coast.
Right.
So they decided to bring on an East Coast representative, and that they created the position, and I was headhunted, for lack of a better term, into the position and jumped at it because it was an organization that I'd always known about. I was always on their mailing list and got their emails of when they appointed a new class of scholars, and so it was just, I met with the executive director, I met with a couple of board members, and I just fell in love with the organization. And every student that I've had the opportunity to meet, and I apologize again, I was hoping to have one here with me tonight, but unfortunately school got in the way.
Yes, of a sort.
Yes. They're just really the most dynamic young adults that I have ever met. You know, for example, we are in the process of also launching a more formalized internship program at Point. We've had internships with corporations before that have sort of informally come to us, so we're in the process of making it more of a formal program. And so I went to a meeting yesterday at a corporation, and where we have a student currently interning, and I mentioned where I was from, and I was in a room of 24 other representatives from other organizations, and when I mentioned where I was from, the women running the meeting for the corporation stopped and said, I have to say that you guys at Point Foundation have provided us with one of the best interns that this corporation has ever had.
That's got to be wonderful to hear.
She said that she's literally had divisions fight over, you know, wanting the student to work with them because he's so dynamic and so great and so, you know, beneficial to their work. So it was I left that meeting just, you know, with love in my heart, kind of, because it was just so great to hear again that one of our students is succeeding, you know, out in the world. And that's really, you know, the mission of Point is kind of a dual mission, is that we're here to help students that are marginalized because of their sexual orientation or their gender identity or their gender expression, but we're also here to train the next generation of leaders for the LGBT community, and to put them out into the world to give back to the community in some way.
Yeah, and there are a lot of things to be fought for this generation that's emerging. Yeah. Now you had mentioned, well, just talking about the internship programs and corporate support.
Sure.
You mentioned HBO and Time Warner have been huge in supporting you, and we do, I believe, have a phone call. Okay. So if you have a question or comment about the Point Foundation, 718-460-9802, and hello, caller.
Hello, I'm listening to your conversation about the scholarships and all that, and I'm wondering if the scholarships are only for young people. I mean, I'm an older lady, and I'm wondering if they're available.
They're available to all. There's no age limit on the students that apply. We do have some scholars that are older currently. We have one scholar actually that has a child. Actually, I believe we have 2 scholars now that have children.
Okay.
We've got, in our new class of scholars is a former military officer that returned from service and decided to utilize our funding to go back to school. So I encourage you to, if you go on our website, again it's pointfoundation.org, you'll see there's profiles of all of our scholars there.
Okay.
And you can read a little bit about their bios, sort of that should give a sense to anybody interested in applying the type of students and types of individuals that we're looking for.
In other words, what you're saying is there's no age limit?
No, there's no age limit at all.
Wonderful.
And thank you so much for your call.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And again, 718-460-9802. We welcome your questions or comments about the Point Foundation or any other scholarship program that may be related, because you do have insight into
To some of the other ones, yeah. I mean, like I said before, we are, we're unique in that we're not a one-time thing. We follow the student through their academic career. And we also, at least for the other scholarship programs that I'm aware of, we tend to be the one that gives the most direct financial support. Some of them are, a couple of $1,000s or something like that, whereas on average, again, we're about $14,000 in support.
Okay. And talking again about corporate support of the Point Foundation, are there any major corporate sponsors out there?
We do, most of our corporate sponsors, we do have relationships with a lot of great corporations, including HBO and Time Warner, like you mentioned, and thank you again to HBO for that wonderful reel. PricewaterhouseCoopers is another great supporter of ours, Motorola, the Abbott Laboratories. The list is endless, and hopefully in this current economic climate, we won't see things go away too quickly.
Exactly. I mean, as people have hardships, people hold on to what they have a little bit more, and hopefully the corporations will see to give. I know the pool of where they'll be able to give is a little more limited in tighter times.
Yeah, I think what's mainly happening is a lot of the corporations that already have existing relationships with organizations are continuing those relationships to the extent that they can.
Right.
But for a corporation to take on a new nonprofit partner is really a harder thing to sell, so to speak. One of the ways that we have a lot of corporations that are involved with us, including Time Warner and Wells Fargo, is through our Name Scholarship Program. And what we do is we provide the opportunity to all of our donors, regardless of whether they're a corporate donor or an individual, to fund a particular scholarship. So financially, we ask for an agreement of $100,000, which is a steep agreement. I agree for an individual, but for corporations,
but for a multi-billion-dollar corporation,
they can generally do it. And for the most part, we also provide them the opportunity to pay that over 4 years. So most donors that do partake in our Name Scholarship Program will pay it over a 4-year time of $25,000 a year. And what they get is the opportunity to name a scholarship either after a loved one, themselves, their corporation, and also dictate, for lack of a better term, the type of student they want to see get that scholarship. So we don't necessarily take that information and say, okay, Jon Griffith wants to fund an African-American male studying basket weaving. Let's go find one.
Underwater basket weaving.
Underwater basket weaving. But we do our normal selections process and then say, okay, this corporation wants to fund this type of student. This corporation wants to fund this type of student. This person wants to fund this. We've found those naturally through our system. Let's
this is an arts-based scholarship. This is a business-based scholarship.
Most of the restrictions are based on one of two things. They're based either on field of study, or they're based on geographic location. So for some corporations, it's if they're funding a scholarship, they want it to go to a student that's either studying in or originally from where their corporation is based. Or for other individuals, it might be they want to fund a student that's going into law or medicine or something like that. And one of the things that we just introduced online on our website through our donation form online is the opportunity for all donors at any level to designate their gift, whether it's a $5 gift or a $500 gift, to a particular type of field of study.
Okay.
So if you go online and you make a donation, you'll see there's a drop-down menu that will say, attribute this gift to a scholar studying the arts, a scholar studying law or medicine, or general scholarship support. So.
Okay, so that's great. So it gives the donor a little bit more of a feeling of control as to where they want it to go.
Yeah, and basically, I mean, any donations that go into general operating, that money gets transferred into the scholarship support anyway, in addition to, you know, covering any overhead. Our overhead for an organization is relatively low. It's about 25%. So it's basically 25 cents to raise $1 is what we're looking at as for our overhead. And the standard is anywhere from I think 25 to 33. So
yeah, so the bulk of what your donation
is going right to the students.
Going right to the student.
Yeah.
And I apologize for coughing again.
That's quite all right.
It just developed a couple days ago, and I was praying to be able to have a voice today, and I was given a voice today, so I'm grateful for that. The website is pointfoundation.org. Again, what can be found on that website?
Everything about our organization can be found on that website. There's information about the mentoring program and the application to be a mentor. There's profiles on all of our students, the 90 that we're currently funding, as well as the 42 alumni that have already been through our program, are all online. There are PDFs of our most recent newsletter, I believe, as well as that's a black and white copy.
Black and white copy.
A much nicer copy in my bag. Yes. And there's also a PDF of our latest annual report online.
So all the information is clear and available.
Is clearly on the website.
So if there are any skeptics out there, you can clearly see that you're on the up and up. And just from my research and just doing the show, I can say that I haven't found a bad word out there. So
and there's even staff profiles and pictures of the whole staff online. So if anyone's curious about any of the other staff,
I wonder who that guy is.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, this guy.
Yeah, that's me. That's me. So yeah, the whole staff is online as well, and as well as all of our contact information. Again, the organization is based in LA, so it might get a little confusing when you go to the contact page and you see a Los Angeles address, and then under the Los Angeles address there's a New York address. Right. And there's also a Chicago address.
Right, but that's able to provide proper outreach to students all over the country.
Exactly. And we currently have. Actually, I shouldn't say currently, but among the 142 students that we've helped since 2001, we've had students in 27 states. Okay. Studying in 27 different states.
So yeah, wow.
So yeah, it's all over. We have pretty high concentrations in certain areas. New York being one of them. I think New York is the highest. I think we have, when you total up our current students as well as our alumni, I think there's 30 in New York out of the 142 in the tri-state area. Chicago and Boston and California all come in close seconds to the highest concentration of students. But we have scholars currently in Michigan, in Ohio, in Tennessee, in Atlanta, Pennsylvania, all over the country.
Well, the community is everywhere. The community is all over the country. You know, try as some people may to deny it, but everywhere. Okay, in the last few minutes of the show, just want to really solidly recap what the Point Foundation is all about. What are the key things that you want people to walk away from this show knowing?
Well, really what I want people to walk away from the show knowing is that Point Foundation is here to assist any individual that has been marginalized because of their sexual orientation, their gender identity, or their gender expression in achieving their dreams of pursuing a college education. And so whether or not you think that you can possibly support us financially and help us do our work, or if you know students that are in need of this type of organization, or if you want to apply to be a mentor, there are numerous ways that you can help Point Foundation succeed in what we're doing. The majority of our students come to us because they simply Googled gay scholarship and we came up. Some of them were referred to us by LGBT community service centers or a guidance counselor, but for the most part, it's the student proactively taking the initiative to go online and to research whether or not there's any kind of scholarships out there specifically for an LGBT student.
So, and of that, I think Point Foundation is pretty much tops.
Yeah.
So, and then again, the website is?
pointfoundation.org.
Okay, and is there a toll-free number?
There is, and
okay.
You're asking the wrong person. I have a hard enough time remembering my phone number, but it's in there. So.
Okay, well, okay.
But it's also on the website.
It's on the website.
Yeah.
And
I think honestly, I think it's 86633-POINT, but don't quote me on that.
Well, check out the www.pointfoundation.org. There will be a link to that when I get home later on the www.talkingabout.info website, and that is the website for this program, which you are watching, and there is a wealth of information on the website about our show. Over 100 shows hosted by myself or JC Alvarez, featuring a wide variety of topics of just about any interest. And this one will be archived there eventually, as soon as I can do that. But I've really worked hard in rebuilding the site over the last couple of months, and it's turned out really well. And just again, Point Foundation. So www.pointfoundation.org.
Yeah.
Is there one story of inspiration that you want to share before we go?
You know, one of my favorite stories to tell is, again, going back to Julie Schell, who was in the video we showed. Her wife is Canadian, and they went to Canada to get married, and Julie was really upset because she realized that her partner's family was all there, all supportive, all in the audience for the ceremony, and her family, who hasn't had any contact with her since she came out, to the point where they literally have burned or destroyed every photographic memory of her. She started to tear up and realized that, you know, she didn't have anybody there. And then she looked out into the crowd and she saw 3 rows full of fellow scholars, Point staff members, and Point board members. And she realized, she's like, you know what, I have a family now. Point is my family now. And for so many of our scholars, when you ask them what Point means to them, one of the first words that roll off their tongue is family.
So it's not always the family you're born into, sometimes it's the family you make.
Yeah.
And I am really glad that you've become part of the Talking About family.
Thank you very much.
So again, more information is available at www.pointfoundation.org. Again, there will be a link to that on our links page, which is www.talkingabout.info. Again, huge variety of archived shows there, including hopefully this one soon. And for Mike Marino, I'm Jon Griffith. Check out pointfoundation.org, www.talkingabout.info, and I will see you next time. Thank you.
Hey, to see the interview with me and other celebrities and notables in the community, go to www.talkingabout.info. Go now. Stop surfing for